morning, brothers and sisters. Hi everyone, my name is Qing, and if that name doesn't ring a bell, I'm usually the girl who plays piano for adult services in the beginning and ends of the services. And while you guys are watching this video, I should be sitting just right on that piano over there in the corner. Anyways, so I have been a member of Chinese Tabernacle Baptist Church since 2013. It was when I first came to Canada, and if anyone still remembers, I was a super shy girl back then. I would always hide behind my mom's back, and probably I'll be holding her hand most of the time. And it has been 9 years now, and this church has really helped me to open up as a person, and has supported me and encouraged me to form a closer bond with God. So in this testimony, I'll be focusing on how exactly I experienced God as I grew up in this church. Besides attending church regularly as a member, I started worshiping in the church in grade 7 by playing piano for adult services. And to be honest, completely honest, I thought it was very boring. My playing was not good and my heart was truly not there. I viewed it as my weekly assignment that I had to practice a little bit, come to church, play it, and I would get a new song for the next week, and I would just repeat. So it wasn't until the beginning of this year when Orion asked me to sub in for Melody and play piano for a young adult worship team. It was then when God had opened my heart and I was finally ready to use my talents to worship Him. When I joined the worship team, there was a sudden change in my attitude towards God. I was surrounded by people who had their hearts on fire for God, and the whole team, especially Orion, supported me and taught me the importance of worship, and moreover, how to worship God. They helped me to understand that worship is never about the audience and what they think. Doesn't matter if I sing pretty or not, if I'm on key, off key, but it's all for God, and if my heart is truly there, He'll be able to see it. And this is how worshiping God changed from my weekly assignment to my weekly highlight. It was something that I truly looked forward to, and I wanted to make goodness out of my gifts and talents and glorify God through me. Some people who really helped me get closer to God and supported me through my journey was Orion and my Sunday school teachers. There was one day when I was hesitant about coming to worship practice because I was worried about coming back and having no rides. Knowing that I live in Coquitlam and it was an early spring day, so it got dark really early, I thought it'd be the best thing to just stay home and skip practice that night. So I just prayed and I said, God, please forgive me for skipping practice. I didn't ask Him to provide me with a ride or anything. I just told Him, I said, I'm skipping, Lord, I'm really sorry, but I can't do it today. But the next thing you know, Orion offered me a ride. He said, I would rather you come to worship practice and be with God, and he can drive me home and then sleep over at Eric's house because it would be way too late for him to drive himself back home all the way in Delta, then me not coming to church and just staying home. And that's exactly what ended up happening. I came to practice and he ended up driving me home later that night. And this really made me feel God's love towards everyone. And I felt that God has been passing His love through the people around me. I prayed and He listened and provided me with solutions in the best loving ways. I learned to prioritize God and trust that He'll make a way to get me home always, but moreover to find a solution in all my worries and doubts. And on that car ride home later that night, Orion shared me his testimony about his experience in high school when he drifted from God, and but he eventually came back as a stronger, more dedicated, and wholehearted Christian. I began to understand that God can change anything in your life, your attitude, the people surrounding you, your priorities, as long as you put everything down to seek Him. Next, the other two people who taught me a lot in my Christian journey are my Sunday school teachers, Charles and Hannah. As a high school student, there are too many negative and worldly influences, temptations, either at school, on social media, etc. People tell you to be like the cool kids, the ones who drink and smoke, do drugs. But in Sunday school, it was where I learned my most valuable lessons through their teachings. I was not interested in drinking, smoking, none of that, and I was able to understand why God set the commandments for us and how He gave us wisdom through the Bible that can be applied to all that we do in life. I could understand that all His commandments and rules that were set for us are there to protect the people around us. I learned that a lot of things that I do in this world only pleases me and not God, and the gains that I thought once were so important will be gone with the wind one day. The gifts and opportunities He had been providing me with, I haven't been taking advantage of them, and sometimes I would complain about having too much to do. But now I understand that all the gifts He had provided me with is with a purpose, and I should work hard to continue to make something out of it. I am overjoyed to have such wisdom as a youth and to continue to have Christianly influences in my life. I'm able to keep my heart pure and faith pure for God, and it helps me to fight my battle against the worldly temptations as I grow up. Lastly, at this church, I learned to be joyful and to love. And at this church, I've heard the most loving sayings and I've seen the most loving actions. One of the sayings that really stuck with me was one of my Sunday school classmates. They said, "We as Christians would never think lowly of anyone. We might just think of them as someone who needs more of our care." And this really made me feel that genuine, pure love that's been passed on from God to us, how God really taught us to love, and we really try to love everyone unconditionally, but of course we can't get there, we just try our best. This really strengthened my faith and love towards others, and it made me want to love the people around me, and my brothers and sisters, of course. And as I become closer with God, I feel that the relationship is building and we start to share the same heartbeat, which makes me feel joy when I worship Him and obey Him. And as I can't resist temptations, my guilt becomes stronger. And as I'm connected with God, my views and concerns of our world start to change for good, and my desires start to align with His. I try to show fruits of the Spirit in my actions and do things that may glorify God. And I also try to show others how loving Christians are and why we are so loving. To end off, I'm super thankful for everything that I have in life, and even if I don't understand why it's happening at the moment, I trust that God has me in His hands and will protect me through anything. And by saying that, the people at my church has really helped me to continue my Christian journey and to support me. Everyone has really become my family. And if you'd like to hear more about my personal testimonies, I would love to share them with you guys. So make sure to reach out to me anytime after you watch this video. And that's all for my testimony. Thank you guys so much. Love all of you guys. Bye!